r/AskReddit, what are some of the most mind-blowing, little-known facts that will completely change the way we see the world? Army cutworm moths, love Yellowstone, it's my favorite place. If you stand in any planet or moon of the solar system and you look up, you'll see the same night sky as we see it from the Earth. Same constellations and all, that's how unfathomably far away the stars are compared to the planets. However, there's one exception. If you stand in Pluto and look up, you'll see that Proxima Centauri looks slightly off compared to its position from the terrestrial sky. That's how unfathomably far Pluto is as well. Of note, the night sky looks distinctly different in the northern vs southern hemispheres. There are only about 25 blimps in the world. Man, that's less than one for every 10,000 moths a bear eats per month. At one point the human population was between 1,000 and 10,000. We came so close to going extinct. We're all cousins. Imagine that, only partially filling a stadium. Cheetahs aren't big cats. They are very large small cats. The difference between them is roaring and purring. Big cats are of the Panthera genus, and possess the ability to roar. Little cats are of the Feline subfamily, and have the ability to purr. The clouded leopard is in neither, and thus lacks both. It is also believed to be the bridge between big cats and little cats. Benford's Law. How large datasets of numbers behave in very predictable ways. It's one of the easiest ways to detect if a company is cooking its books. All humans share 99.9% of the same DNA. The 0.1% is what makes us different. During the Cold War, the American government set up a fake metal mining company, then had them get set up in the Soviet Union because the metal that was needed for the state Route 71 could only be found in Russia. The Americans mined and paid for Russian metal that gave the Americans the ability to spy uninhibited on the Russians. Speaking of the state Route 71, it flew so high and so fast that its primary strategy for defeating a missile lock was to just fucking floor it. San Juan, Puerto Rico should be named Puerto Rico, San Juan. It got mixed up by a map maker. I have wondered why the whole island is called a port. Babies can die from lack of love, human touch, cuddles, hugs, nuzzles. We also didn't give babies anesthetics for surgery and the like for the longest time because we thought they couldn't feel anything. Turns out, like everyone else, they can. They just won't remember it. Only 3% of the Earth's water is fresh water, and less than 1/3 of that isn't frozen. Glad I live near one of the sources for when the resource wars come. The use of fingerprinting can be traced back to China in the 700s for identification. It wasn't used for forensics until the 1800s. Oh. Can you share a TLDR/Eli 5? While it is generally assumed that no two people share identical fingerprints, it cannot be proven. It has been established that latent fingerprint examiners sometimes come to different conclusions when comparing fingerprints. Source: this paper, link published on the NIH website. There's a theory that explains why humans are universally attracted to shiny things. It's because we are hardwired to seek out water, and the sun dappling on water is, of course, shiny. Not sure if it's a little known fact, but it blew my tiny mind when I learned that there have been sharks on Earth for longer than there have been trees. And the dinosaurs evolved in a world where there was no grass and no flowers. Both grasses and flowering plants first appeared toward the end of the age of dinosaurs. Before that time, the vegetation landscape was dominated by ferns and cycads and conifers. Woolly mammoths still roamed when the pyramids were built. Thomas Jefferson specifically asked Lewis and Clark to keep an eye out for them in 1806 because he thought they might still exist in the American West. Yeah, but only on one island, and they were tiny mammoths. There are more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on planet Earth. The follow-up used to be that there are more atoms in a grain of sand than there are stars in the universe, but recent research has shown you need a whole gram of sand to have as many atoms as there are stars in the universe. I also like the fact that there are more nerve connections in the brain than stars in the universe. One that blows my mind is that there are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. Every element heavier than lithium had to be created in the core of a star. Every element heavier than iron had to be created by a supernova. It took humans less than 66 years from first discovering the flight, 1903, to landing a man on the moon, 1969. It's no wonder that people living in 70s and 80s thought that we'd be sending expeditions into space by 2000. The energy stored in all the oil and gas in the Earth is the equivalent of just 8.5 days worth of sunlight hitting the surface of the planet. Most people value short-term good feelings more than long-term stability. If you understand this, much in the world will be better understandable to you. Alcohol, for example. The US military, through much trial and effort, has determined a minimum intelligence level required to comprehend and perform the most basic tasks through boot camp, like folding your clothes neatly, paying attention to fold points and creases, and storing them neatly in your locker, how to lace your shoes, how to assemble a rifle, etc. And fully 10% of the US population fails to meet this minimum level. The National Park System has also determined, through much research into bear-proof trash cans, that there is significant overlap between the smartest bears and the dumbest tourist. Apollo Guidance Computer, which was the Apollo 11 spacecraft that landed humans on Moon, command module had on board a machine that had 64 kilobytes of memory and operated at 0.043 megahertz. And much of that memory was woven wire, not RAM as we know it today, but ROM that was hard-coded by people weaving wire. So you do contain stardust and supernova dust. But there's more. Hydrogen was created by or at the same time as the Big Bang. So there's a large part of you that predates stars. The fax machine was invented at the same time that the Oregon Trail migration was occurring. IIRC, there was a point in time when a samurai could have sent a fax to Abraham Lincoln. Over 99% of all species to ever exist on Earth are extinct. Animal numbers in Africa are still recovering to their historic levels after rinderpest almost wiped out most ungulates, things with hooves, in the 1800s, introduced from Europe of course. It wiped out so many animals that the environment changed with it and also helped ignite the scramble for Africa by causing famines. Vacuum decay essentially, at any given moment without warning, the universe can cease to exist and never exist again. What's the hold up? Cool, horrors beyond comprehension. Gravity causes an attraction between objects with mass, and works across vast distances. People have mass, which means we're all, slightly, attracted to each other. When I wave my arm like I'm doing now, I'm moving the atoms in your body, wherever you happen to be. Stop. I'm trying to sleep. There are approximately 3 trillion trees on our planet Earth. Grizzly bears in Yellowstone eat around 300,000 moths a month, and it accounts for 1/3 of their calorie intake. The difference between a million and a billion. A million seconds is about 11 days, a billion seconds is about 31.5 years. Now think about the billionaires. Another way to think of it. The difference between $1 and $1,000. Same ratio. For every dollar a millionaire has, a billionaire has $1,000. Or there's that adage. What's the difference between $1 million and $1 billion? About $1 billion. There are more people living in slavery now than at any time in human history. Dinosaurs evolved on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy. No, it's true. Because 250 million years ago when they evolved, our solar system was on the other side of the galaxy to where it is now. 53% of the world does not kiss romantically. As well as an estimated 90% of Reddit. Using garlic bread as buns for a meatball marinara sandwich is fire. That between 14 to 140 million new stars ignite into existence somewhere in our universe every minute. Like, per bear? It's amazing how something as small as a moth is appetizing for a grizzly bear. Well, 300,000 is quite a lot. On purpose. Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel. According to my statistics, 100% of my viewers in the past 28 days are not subscribed. I have always wanted this channel to reach 1,000 subscribers, and if you want to support and be a part of that, subscribe. It's free and it's an awesome way to support the channel. Thanks again. Reddit glitch out.